Well, desperate times call for desperate measures, and for more, we're joined by Ferdinand Fichtner from the German Institute for Economic Research. Herr Fichtner, no loans for businesses in Italy, the economy keeps shrinking. How exactly can Berlusconi's exit turn things around or help the situation there?
I think we've seen slight improvements on financial markets at first, after the change from Berlusconi to Monti, but then the situation has worsened again. So I think the sustainability of this change is really in question right now. After all, it's not a lack of goodwill that the banks are not giving money to the companies, for example. It's that the banks have themselves problems to get refinanced on financial markets. So what Monti has to do now, urgently, is to restore credibility in the sustainability of fiscal policy in Italy, and I think that will be a hard task for him.
That's certainly a very urgent task, because if Italy did request a bailout as well, that would be very expensive. It becomes clear when we take a closer look at Italy's situation and compare it to other debt-ridden Eurozone economies, Ireland, Portugal and Greece. Clearly, Italy's mountain of debt is massive at 2 trillion euros. Italy's debt is 5 times higher than Greece's. And at the same time, Italy's economic growth has slowed dramatically. And for 2012, the EU Commission forecasts only 0.1% growth. But it's pretty much stagnation and certainly not helpful in this situation. How can Italy turn things around?
To be honest, firstly, I think it's slightly unfair to compare the situation in Italy to the situation in Greece, because after all, the Italian economy is still much bigger than the Greek economy. So if you compare the debt level to GDP, for example, to the overall production in a country, then the ratio in Italy is much lower. And in this sense, the outlook for the Italian fiscal policy is probably better, especially because we've seen in the financial crisis over the last 2.5 years that the situation has not worsened substantially. So I think there is a good chance that Monti can change the direction of the Italian economy, but in the end it will be a hard task.
Well, there is a glimmer of hope then. And talking of big economies, Germany's economy is still going strong. The figures released this week by the Federal Statistics Office show 2.6% GDP growth since last year, so in the last 12 months. Does this mean Germany is immune to the crisis?
I wouldn't say immune, but I think what we can say is that it really came as a surprise that growth in the third quarter was relatively strong. I think we should be a bit modest or cautious whether we can extend this into the future. We've seen that the strong growth in the third quarter mostly came from the very strong July. August and September was already weaker. And I fear that we have to extend this into the future, and we will see a relatively weak fourth quarter. But in the end, what we see is that the German economy is still in a very solid situation, and this is certainly a positive information.
Okay, Ferdinand Fichtner, thank you very much for the pretty optimistic outlook as well.